Hello and welcome to the Challenge Warlord Gold Strategy Guide. My name is Renstaud and today we will be covering the Grimrail Depot. Now to start, we want to invis pot. Yes, we are invis potting before the veil drops. We want to skip all of this trash at the start. The timer is so damn tight in this place, it's not even funny. So we haul ass straight to the first boss. We drop out of invis. And we have our hunter misdirect, if possible, one of the other paths right there. You have to kill one of them, just one, to ensure you get the kill count. You will get the kill count right on the money. So pretty much you pull this boss, you want to pretty much split your DPS when possible, but you can start with having everybody on the big brute and just work him down. Now the ad that's up, just have him cleaved. Don't even worry about him. Just let Cleave take care of him. Now, when the Brute does his charge to knock the Goblin down, the other boss, that's when you want to pop Lust and put everything you got into him to get him caught up to the Brute. Sometimes it doesn't work out quite well. On this pull, the damage wasn't quite there. We actually started off too heavy on the Brute, but nonetheless, we still end up knocking this fight out. So, be mindful of the debuff you get from being targeted. You'll see the little AoE, looks like a Pokemon rune, whatever, appears on the ground. And just be sure you strafe out of it. You got about 2 seconds just to move out of it, and you can avoid so much damage. So, we knocked the little guy down again, so be sure, tank, that you are putting the Brute in position to charge the wall to knock the guy down. Because if you don't, you'll spend too much time on this fight, and you'll pretty much lose the timer. So there's the blast on the ground. And of course, that Pat, the one ad that we pulled, just now died. That's normal for him to stay up. It's going to be a lot more tank damage, which is fine. Healer should be able to handle it. Tank can pop small CDs to survive it as well. So there's the boss up there on the wall again. And of course, we end up positioning the Brute in the direction to knock him down, switch targets, blow up the bastard, because he does take increased damage when he is knocked down. And as you see what we're executing here, we're pretty much bringing them both down at about the same time. We did get a little bit more up on the Goblin this time, but at least we can have our DPS split back up and bring them down within a matter of seconds of each other, which is fine. Now what you can do here for this upcoming trash on the ramps, if your healer man is good, just keep moving. You can opt to chain pull them all or stagger the pull. We semi-chain pulled it, and it's just because, again, the time in this place is very tight. There's literally no time to stop and talk about things. You pretty much just have to keep going and keep going. This is, of all the challenge modes, I feel that considering the very tight timer, this was one of our easiest ones. We actually got this one on our 4th or 3rd attempt, somewhere in that ballpark. We wasn't in here no more than 45 minutes tops working on this place. We got really lucky too. But yeah, so we just semi-stagger pulled here. Now tanks, be mindful, for some reason your threat will remain on the second ad, but he likes to reset his positioning, and he will go after one of the ranged or healers at random. I don't know why, don't know if that's intentional or not, but it is aggravating as shit, so just be prepared for that. And of course, if the ad is coming at you, ranged healers, be sure you start hauling ass away. Hunter, re-misdirect, which misdirect actually can fail. We actually had that happen on one attempt. It sucks, but it's just annoying as hell. Now we get up here to the main carts. This is where the fun really begins for this instance, because there's so much trash and so little time, you've practically got to chain pull them. So what you need to do is focus down your gunners. Gunners are top priority. So tank, you got to be mindful of your positioning so they don't breathe or shoot their fire, not breathe, but they don't shoot their fire at your group, because it does a lot of damage. If a DPS gets hit with one tick, they could probably survive it. But considering that you're going to be pulling non-stop, you cannot afford to have excess group damage going out, because your healer will be oomed by the time you get to the second boss. So right here, we're knocking out the boomer. We want to get rid of him quick. And as soon as the big brute comes back by, or comes by rather, we will pick him up. But as soon as the boomer is dead, and we get the grenadier, how the hell you want to say it, as soon as we get him down to comfortable health, we're just going to go ahead and mow him down right here, it looks like. But we're going to start pulling the next pack. So Hunter, be sure you trank shot the Enrage off the big brute, because he does a lot of tank damage, more so than the other shit in here. Now when you get to these other groups, you want to take out the Cinder Seers and knock them out first. They become top priority even over the Gunners once you get to the later packs in here. It's, again, a lot of damage, and it's such a tight space that it can be hard to view what you're looking at in here. But you pretty much want to just overlap these pulls. And it's like here in a moment, we're going to pretty much pull another pack with this. It's going to get crazy, but again, we have to, and you pretty much will have to, because again, the time in this place is extremely tight. So cycle cooldowns, you're going to burn through pots. Use everything you've got on this trash. So here we go, we're getting in position to get the next pack prepped for the pull. Again, once the gunner is down, you can proceed to the next pack. You just want to get rid of the critical ads first. Most people say you can CC. As you'll probably notice from some of the vids, I don't truly believe in CC. I think CC is a weak playstyle, to be honest, other than if you're doing a large pull and doing a large AoE stun. That's about the only CC that's acceptable in my book. Some can call me insane or stupid. I can give a shit less. That's just what I believe in, and it's a playstyle that has always worked for me for my 6 years in tanking. And that's what we're sticking to right here. We're just going to just keep pulling everything. We're pulling the other pack there. So you're going to have the gunner. He's going to pad over, and he's going to fire his shit right away. This is where it just gets insane. It just gets nasty right here. Because you got 2 Cinder Seers. You've got probably 2 gunners in the pack if you still kept one alive from the previous pull. It gets nasty. You're going to be popping every defensive cooldown as a tank, every cooldown as a healer possibly. You want to pop absolutely everything you have in your arsenal to get through this pull as quickly as possible. And again, of course, cycle stuns. If you're a Death Knight tank, roll with Chillbanes in this place. You don't need to have Death's Advance whatsoever. There's no need for it. You're better off with Chillbanes, as well as your Gorfieng's Grasp, for the sole reason of when there's a lot of the AoE shit on the ground with these trash packs, you can just move out, grip them out of the way, so your melee will be safe, and they can contribute to even more damage as well. So here, we took a quick moment, just let our healer catch up on mana, because again, your healer will probably go with all that trash, because again, it is a clusterfuck pull. And of course, we unload on the boss right here. Do everything we can. Of course, he will transition regardless. Now, the key thing with the second boss, I firmly believe that if anyone is going to encounter a time bottleneck in this place, it won't necessarily be with the trash unless you have your entire group get obliterated by the big trash pull. But I firmly believe this boss here will be your bottleneck. And the reason being is because sometimes the ads, from what we've seen, we had one run where we was looting the ads, all they would drop is grenades. We don't know why, and I don't think that was intended. It might have just bugged out for us. But on one of the attempts, we were not getting none of the shrapnel blasts or the big cannon blasts, none of the other abilities. We were just getting grenades, which is stupid. Now what you want to do here is try to stay towards the front of the cart. And of course, let the wind, as if you're a tank, just strafe here, pick up everything you can, and just let the wind just kind of let you strafe back and forth, and then you strafe back. And the wind will pretty much push you out of the radius, or not the radius, but out of the range of the shrapnel blasts from the ads themselves. But what you need to have occur here as well is have one of your DPS try to put damage up on the boss. You don't want to spend too much time here, or you'll have to do a bitch pull for the final boss, and that gets pretty lethal. So you can save your grenades for the ads. So when you get overwhelmed, you just drop a grenade. Use one grenade for the ads when you get overwhelmed, and then use the remainder to help bring the boss out of his cannon. Again, if you've got the shrapnel blast, as you see here, I've got it for myself. Eric has got it along with grenades. So he'll use grenades to help with the trash here as soon as they're all grouped up when called for, or if needed, or use them on the boss. So see, it's like here, I went ahead and used my shrapnel blast to help catch up on ads because we were starting to get a little overwhelmed and we didn't want to stress our healer too much, but we was able to get more damage out on the boss. And of course, anyone that has shrapnel blast, they need to get into cannon and put that shit on the boss right away. It'll really, really help, and it's pretty much required. So go to town on the boss, do all the DPS if you've got multiple cannons out. If you can position them in between, which we kind of failed to do here, but we're just in a bit of a rush to manage resources, catch up, and stuff like that, that we just used a one. Now, getting through this part of the train, sometimes what will happen is the fire will overlap to where both sides get covered at the exact same time, and sometimes if RNGesus is cruel to you, you'll be stuck waiting a little bit longer for the fire to clear, because sometimes it stacks up back to back to the point where you have to wait, and it sucks. We only had one attempt, but it wasn't when we was trying to push for gold. It was back at around the beginning of the expansion, we was just doing the daily challenge mode gold just to get gear for our raid group. Now here we opted to do the bitch pull. So we popped the Army of the Dead. We get them all grouped up. We get a stun out. We're going to pop Lust on this trash. We are going to annihilate this pool. I mean, again, if you look at the timer's pretty tight considering how much shit we have to pull. What we did do is we left one of the other ads just standing stationary in the back, so in the event that our healer needed a moment to catch up, he could. But all things considering, we got through this pack relatively pretty quick. So, but again, the timer in this place is ridiculous. Now, you might be asking, why didn't we just save Lust for the boss? Again, you'll spend more time killing trash than you will killing bosses. Bosses will die regardless. It's the trash that typically cause the most issues, especially if you're doing a large pull like that. So here we've got a moment, downtime, get some resources back, all that fun jazz. Now what you want to do with this boss, depending on where your group is standing, that's where the lightning patches will get dropped. So if you're on the left side, if you got everyone on the left side of the train, the left side will get filled up. If you're in the middle, it'll get in the middle. So try to stay to one side if possible, so you don't have patches just randomly overlapping, because it will limit your movement and you'll be out of places to stand. So spinning spear does quite a bit, can do quite a bit of tank damage, but will also do group damage because it'll go through you and hit anyone else. Just don't get caught by the frost traps. We get caught a few times because, again, the placement of these lightning patches was enough to throw everything off somewhat. And we did have, I believe, one overlap coming up at this point. But it may happen, it may not happen to you. Just again, just try to move and stay on the same side as your tank, so that way you're not filling up the entire cart. You want to try to leave as much platform space as possible. And again, just put everything you can into it. You're probably not going to be able to start this fight with any cooldowns. You should have potions back up by this point, because again, you did invis at the start. You lusted at the start, which of course we used the second lust on the big trash pool right here before the boss. But keep putting everything you can into the boss, and you will beat the timer. If not, just meet the timer. See, at this point, we're getting double patches now. So our placement on the boss is, I wouldn't say sloppy, it's just, it gets to the point where you get a little overwhelmed. And here we are, we're like just 3 seconds from the gold. We're just, you know, barely going to get it, and we get it literally right on the money. We literally hit the max gold timer and secured our challenge Warlord gold. Thank you for watching. We will see you next time.